everybody. Welcome back to Once Upon a Page. We have a special episode again this week. We want to congratulate Amy. As you can tell, she's wearing the tiara. The signals she has another book coming out. This one is called Roadtrip for Two, and it comes out on December 13th. And we are going to let Amy tell us about it.
So this is the second book in my series.
Yay!
The series that I swore I was never going to write.
No, we've got Erin doing romance. We've got you doing series. It's awesome.
And you wrote a historical.
And you wrote a historical.
I did, yes.
We're all out of our comfort zones. Yes. So in this book, Bree is one of the characters from the first book, but this is her story. And she and Nathan are they're estranged. Is that a good word for it? They broke up. They broke up. They were supposed to get married and they did not. But everybody has talked them into taking their honeymoon trip anyway. The problem is neither one of them knows that the other one is going, and they run into each other at the airport. And then the trip actually gets canceled because there's a hurricane. So
So did these people set them up to go on this together knowingly?
they did.
Oh,
It was his younger brother Josh and Sky and Katie all worked together. Josh had the details because he helped like make sure everything was planned, and so he passed them on and helped Bree get her tickets. And then he, at the same time that he has the girls convincing her to go, he's convincing Nathan to go ahead and take the trip because he doesn't want to waste money. It's non-refundable trip, you might as well go. And yeah, in the meantime, they're hoping that Bree and Nathan will get back together because they don't think they should have been broken up.
awesome.
Oh.
Now, I remember in the first one, you wrote about some different places and things like that you had visited.
Yes.
And maybe it had been a while, but
Yeah.
you had been there before, and you kind of talked about walking down memory lane and everything as you were writing it. How about this one? Do we see things that Amy has seen, or?
Yes. So this one's set in Dallas, Texas. I don't know that there's another Dallas, but just to be sure. Now everybody's going to go look up because they're not sure either. But Dallas, Texas, and my husband and I have definitely visited Dallas, Texas several times. I'm actually taking some of the bad from my history and turning it into good, because one of the reasons we ended up visiting Dallas quite a few times was that's where our infertility clinic was when we were going through all of that. And if you don't know, when you're taking infertility treatments, a lot of times you have to do one thing one day and then you have to do something else the very next day. And we lived 2 hours away from Dallas. That was the closest clinic to us. And so we would go and we would stay with my cousin or some friends overnight. And so we had some time to kill between like appointments or whenever they got home from work or whatever. And so we would go explore a few places. So yes, there are some places in it that I have not been, but I know that they're real and they exist. I did my research. Yeah.
Nothing like thorough research.
Exactly. I called my cousin. I'm like, hey, dude, where should they? No, I did call my cousin.
Now, do you have an excerpt for us today?
I do. I do. You guys may think it's way too long, but I have one. This is when they first run into each other in the airport, the very beginning of the book. No, 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 no. That voice, it sliced through Bree Henley's heart sharper than any knife, reverberating pain she thought had finally subsided. But no. Her throat tightened and she squeezed her eyes shut, willing the strength for this encounter. She glanced up from her paperback, despite knowing who stood there. How could she not? She was supposed to be here with him, back before he'd called everything off. Nathan Hart, her ex-fiance. In his plaid button-up and gray pants, he looked just as handsome as ever. She'd always had a thing for slightly nerdy guys, and his glasses and rumpled hair fit the bill from the moment she'd spotted him across a mutual classroom during their sophomore year of college. Too bad he'd decided he couldn't trust her. Hello to you, too. Somehow her words came out normal instead of shaky like her insides. What are you doing here? He motioned to the hard plastic airport seat she occupied. Traveling? She crossed her legs, hoping to appear nonchalant. You? Bree, be serious. There's no way you're here in the same airport I am without something being up. No? I suppose you'll go all Humphrey Bogart on me and ask why, out of all the airports in all the world, I had to pick yours? Though I didn't realize you owned this one. She glanced over her shoulder at the hustle inhabiting DFW. It's nice. His jaw tightened as if holding back words. Please tell me we're not headed to the same place. Unless you tell me where we're going, I can't answer that, although I'd say it's a fairly safe bet, all things considered. She pulled a ticket from the front pocket of her purse, using the time to swallow one last lump of emotion. This says Houston. The cruise. The cruise. She lifted a brow. Though why you chose to book a cruise, I don't understand. I thought we'd agreed to go to New York City. He glanced around, and then his shoulders slumped, and he slid into a seat next to her. You wanted to go to New York City. I didn't care where we went, and this was cheaper. Cheaper? You managed to find a cruise around the Caribbean cheaper than a week in New York City? She shook her head. And you call me the travel guru. He tensed, and she realized she just opened old wounds again, the ones that cut him much deeper than she'd expected. Enough for him to decide he didn't trust her enough to go through with their wedding, the wedding that should have happened the day before, back in Tennessee. She ran a thumbnail around the left-hand finger, still missing the ring that had lived there for over a year. He wasn't the only one with unhealed wounds. Who gave you the information to be able to take this trip? He crossed his arms and kept to the far edge of his chair as if afraid of touching her. And how did I not see you on the flight from Nashville? Sky said she got it from Josh, and he helped me change my flight to one out of Memphis since that's where I'm living right now. Bree tucked her ticket back in his place and glanced over the screen announcing loading times. Weren't they supposed to leave soon? Josh. Nathan groaned his brother's name. I should have known. Let me guess. Sky said you should take the trip, that I couldn't get a refund anyway, and it might as well not be wasted. Pretty much. Almost exactly, in fact. Sky and Katie had told her it would be a great way to work through her depression over the relationship falling apart, soak up some sun, maybe even meet someone new. She'd never believed the last part, but the sun and waves had sounded good, not to mention all the desserts probably on board. Hadn't even thought to ask if Nathan might be going too. And now they had a whole week to look forward to being trapped on a boat. Wait, would they have to be in the same room? Part of her considered backing down now, but why should she be the one to give up this trip? He was the one who didn't want to be with her. They set us up. The words escaped his lips as more of a growl. I guess Josh basically gave you the same spiel? Yup. And stupid me, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. You know I can't stand to waste money. So you're going on the cruise by yourself? I for sure wasn't taking Josh, Nathan scoffed. My baby brother can be a lot of things, but he's not who I want next to me on a cruise. She nodded, though his words sliced through her already wounded heart. Apparently, she wasn't who he wanted next to her on a cruise either. Do you want me to keep going?
It's so much fun.
Yeah, they are obviously at odds with each other.
Obviously.
Yes.
But
And
that's kind of my favorite trope.
Yeah.
When they don't like each other or they're mad and
yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of I guess it's the second chance romance because, they were together and then they broke up and now they're stuck in Dallas together. So, could be interesting. I throw a few wrenches in the works for sure. Definitely.
That makes for a good story.
It does. Yes. And I've got some other characters in there that I really, really, really love too. And my advanced readers have just they kept sending me messages with like screenshots of some of the things that his mom says, and they're like dying laughing because they love it so much. And that just made me so, so happy. So yeah, Mama Heart. She's like one
You
of my
gotta have a
favorite
character like that in there.
too. Yes.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to read it. This is like the only one I haven't read ahead of time. I'm kind of bummed.
She says that about every book lately. Have you noticed?
She's been a little busy.
Oh,
There's no way you're going to keep up with me next year, Erin.
probably not. You're just like taking off and just
I
leaving us
know.
in the dust.
No, I don't even know how I'm going to keep up with me next year.
Well, you've got to get through this one first.
I do. Yes.
And again, it comes out on December 13th,
Mhm.
but you order it right now and you can get $1 off that price. So
Yes.
be sure to do that because we want to help Amy climb in those sales rankings on Amazon.
Yeah.
So be sure and check that out. It's Road Trip for Two.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you want to tell us about the book?
I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, you know. I just
Is there a favorite place in the book that they visit?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Like every place that they go, I love sort of what happens there with them.
Well,
So,
is there one of them that means a lot to you personally?
not really. The one, I'm sorry, the one of the places that they go is the sixth floor museum. And my husband and I went and toured that, and it's actually the museum where Kennedy got shot.
Oh, wow.
And so it basically gives like a whole history of his life and his family and his presidency and everything leading up to that moment. And then you can actually go stand at the window where it happened.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And then right down below it is the plaza where it happened, and they've got like memorials and stuff set up down there. And yeah, I really liked like reliving that in my head as I was writing it. But
Wow.
yeah, just incorporating some, because it's very emotional to go through there. And Bree is very emotional, and then he doesn't understand because he is very mathematically minded. He's an accountant and he thinks in like lines and numbers. And so that's one of the issues that they have to work through.
Well, thank you, Amy, for telling us about it. I can't wait to read it. I'm very excited. I love the first one, and you left it kind of where I was like, I want to know more now. So very excited. So make sure that you guys go out and get your copy. And right before it releases, there'll be a 3x3. Is that kind of what we call it? I think, where they will 3 and 3, where they our publisher will put out the first 3 chapters. So you can get a little sneak peek, which is always fun. And then I'm sure it will make you want to go and hit buy now. So make sure you go and do that. And we hope that it does really good for you. And
Thanks.
hope you guys come back and see us next time.